Insurance is a dirty word to some people, but it's absolutely necessary knowledge for a homeowner because what you don't know about insurance can cost you dearly. So get ready to know your home. I'm your host, Dan O'Malley, along with your home expert and owner operator of Cook DFW Roofing and Restoration, Daniel Cook. Daniel, is insurance a requirement for a home services contractor?
Most people think it is, but it quite really is not.
This is one of the most dangerous assumptions we can have as homeowners because if we're paying off our home, if we have a mortgage, we have to have insurance. It's a requirement of the loan. It's
Mhm.
non-negotiable. It's not a choice. You're
Correct.
paying it. So the assumption is that contractors who do this work for a living is that they would have to be insured, but you're saying no.
Nope.
Why?
Anybody can walk on your property and do something. And if something happens, you're the one holding the bag when they mess up your home.
Oh man, that is such a risk. Insurance is kind of a dirty word. It's also, when people think of it, it's very boring. It's like, ugh, insurance. But the reality is, if you find yourself in a major predicament with your home, insurance is going to be very exciting, but for all the wrong reasons.
Hmm.
And you deal with this stuff on a daily basis. You, with your business, you are insured. But again, it's not a requirement the way the rest of us would think it should be.
Yep. We spend a lot of money on insurance, but it's for the right reasons. I mean, as your company grows, you want to make sure your homeowners are protected. You want to make sure your staff is protected. At the end of the day, we do a dangerous job, and I don't want to have somebody on the hook for something that accidents happen.
So, with that knowledge that we now have, we want to bring in a super expert on insurance. So, let's bring in Brad Davis from One Source Insurance Advisors to tell us even more. Brad, great to have you. Thanks for being here, sir.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. Looking forward to it.
So, did you always know that home services contractors were not required to have insurance? And when you found out, you decided to become the Batman of it?
It didn't work out quite that way, but I've been in the business for 20 years, going on 21, and for the last 18, we have specialized in construction insurance and business to business insurance, and so that's where I started learning that. And even though there are some jurisdictions in some areas, even in Texas, that do require contractors to pull permits, and in order for them to pull permits, that they have to have general liability. They don't require work comp in the state of Texas. But if the general contractor is got uninsured subcontractors out there, there's no requirement unless the general contractor is requiring them to have it.
As a homeowner, I have had many contractors work on my home. I know for a fact that there have been a few occasions where I've cut corners and gone with someone that was not fully probably licensed and definitely not totally insured. How big of a risk did I take?
Well, if one of those contractors were to be injured on your property, then your homeowner's liability portion of your policy would then be on the hook because you invited someone to your property to do work. So you willingly and knowingly allowed that to happen. And so therefore, you put your homeowner's liability on the hook.
Is there a way as a homeowner, is it to protect myself from everything that I just said and you just said? If someone comes to my home to do some work and I ask them, "Are you insured?" and they say, "Sure." Am I protected then by them just saying sure, or does it fall on me to verify it? Like, who does it fall on? Whose responsibility is it to actually verify it? Is it theirs or is it mine as the homeowner?
Yeah, good question. No, as your homeowner, you have every right when you have a contractor to come out and you like them, strike a contract with them. Then what you want to do is ask to see their liability insurance in the form of a certificate of insurance. And so a lot of times they'll have them a sample copy in their notebook if they've got insurance. That's not good enough. people can get around that and they forge them and make stuff up. It's an easy form to fill. So what you want them to do is to contact their insurance agent and have their insurance agent email you a certificate of insurance with your name and address in the certificate holder box. Now, what that is going to allow you to do if something happens or goes south, then you have a telephone number to the insurance agent, and that insurance agent, by sending you that form, is saying that today, when we issue this certificate, the insurance is in force. Okay. And then you look at that, and and so you want to look for general liability insurance and workers' compensation insurance. Now, I know in the state of Texas, it's not required for contractors to carry workers' comp insurance, or any business for that matter. However, in the construction industry, we want to see those companies and those employers carrying that work comp, because if somebody fell off a roof and was injured bad enough, again, they're going to go to the general contractor. If they don't have that coverage, then the lawyers are going to come seek that from your homeowner's insurance, and then we have a big mess.
Speaking of a big mess, I want to stay sort of with that hypothetical and think this may, and if this is not the worst case scenario, please let me know what is. But in my mind right now, worst case scenario, I have a contractor come to my home and I ask the important question, are you insured? He says, yes. Are you licensed? He says, yes. I ask for proof of it. He shows me a couple of pieces of paper that say certified, licensed, whatever. As a homeowner, I don't know what the fake version and the real version of these things look like. I take his word and paper in front of me for what it was, and I take it as truth. Then they start work, something happens, someone falls off, gets injured. As a homeowner, am I protected at all if I say this guy lied to me? Or is it still ultimately my responsibility and it's still going to come out of my insurance? Or is that a court thing?
Yeah, it's going to go to litigation.
Okay.
I mean, you have a claim because if someone is injured bad enough, they're going to go get one of their friendly lawyers, and then they're going to file a lawsuit, and then your insurance carrier is going to have to get involved with that, and then they'll investigate those things. But as far as licensing goes in Texas, general contractors aren't required to be licensed. Only your trades such as electricians, HVAC, and plumbers are required to carry a license in Texas. So it's if somebody says I'm licensed and bonded, well, no, you're not licensed and bonded in the state of Texas if you're not one of those three trades. So picking up those key words, and people say I'm bonded. Well, bonded against what? There are like I think Frisco, city of Frisco, I think they require to have a permit bond, and it doesn't do anything for the homeowner. It's if you have to go pull a permit, and then there's fines for not inspections or something like that, then they can file against the contractor, to pay that if they don't pay their fines for doing illegal work. So, and there's just certain, areas that it's not universal throughout the state of Texas. We call Texas the Wild Wild West in the contracting world.
I was going to say, that sounds like it could be pretty confusing from a homeowner's standpoint, especially if, like so many people are doing, maybe moving from a larger city, a larger metropolitan area farther out into the country and finding out, oh yeah, things are vastly different in more ways than one. And one of those could very well be all these codes and enforcement and all these county by county standards.
Mm-hmm. That's correct. And Texas has a lot of people moving from California, from Illinois, and where those two states, you have to be licensed contractors. In Arkansas, every single contractor, doesn't matter if you do $2,500 or more worth of work on somebody's house, then you're required to be a licensed contractor in the state of Arkansas. So if there's anybody moving down there, that's what they're used to. And so they just assume that Texas is the same.
Yeah, no, we find that out very often. We see so many clients that are from, like you said, California, Illinois, Pennsylvania, Arizona. And if you really think about it, all the states around us, as far as for roofing, have to be licensed.
Mhm.
Louisiana has to have license. Arkansas, Oklahoma, Texas is one of the one states that's holding off on enforcing those kind of things. And it's really like you talked about. If the homeowner is not doing their due diligence and checking out who they're doing business with, at the end of the day, they're going to have a claim on their homeowner's policy, and that's going to give them unfortunately a score against their policy, even though they didn't have anything to do with it. They're still going to be the one that's held liable for that, and that stays with them forever. Basically, you can run clue reports, and insurance companies, when you change insurance, can see you had a large claim on your policy, and regardless of the magnitude of it, so you're going to get higher premiums because you allowed somebody to work on your property, and unfortunately, a bad thing happened.
So what I'm hearing is, as a homeowner, if I ask for the proper documentation for, insurance, and they hand me a sheet and I don't verify it, I'm either going to be in serious, serious trouble, or I'm going to be in serious trouble if something happens. So it's best that I verify it and don't just take their word for it, or just assume that that piece of paper is, legit.
Yeah, if you like Brad, he's my personal business insurance. He's who we get our insurance from. At any time, we have some clients that are very educated about this matter, and they say, "Hey, I need a proof of I need your COI." And then if you're a contractor and you do this regularly and you know how to do it, you just we email Brad or his wife, and we're like, "Hey, we need a COI for this client for this address," and bam, he sends it out. And so now that client has that piece of paper that says, "Hey, this contractor is insured. Here's what his insurance says." It gives them the values of it, and then that now that client is basically knows that at least if something happens to their property while we're doing it, then they're fully covered, like Brad said.
Is there any sort of tell when, as a homeowner, if a contractor comes to my home and they're trying to fool me into saying they're insured but they're not? Because like social media, for example, a lot of us put a lot of weight in that little check mark. Like, they don't just hand that out. You can pay for it, but there's a process. So that's kind of what I mean. Is there some sort of an indicator that I, as a homeowner, can look for to be like, this is legit, or is there not? And it's just straight up whatever policy, whatever company name you see on that sheet, call them.
Yeah. There's not going to be until you get that. I mean, well, in North Texas, we have those storms. So if it's an out-of-state license plate on the truck that's knocking on your door, probably pretty good. Stay away from them. Use local guys. That would be an indicator if we're in a catastrophic, with a lot of things. But really, you should, take their card. You should look at, check their Google page, find the different places, see what people are saying about them. And then, just ask questions about their business, what they're, who they are, what they do, how many employees they have, how many trucks they have, how long they've been in business. You just do it like an interview, a process, and find somebody that you can be comfortable with, the good indicator also is how are they dressed. Now, I know if they're coming to get on their roof, they're going to be in hard work clothes. But if they're coming for the first time to meet you, they're going to should be dressed pretty nice. They should, the more, the better companies would have, that do the better jobs. Typically, they're dressed for success, and they're going to have professionals coming out to talk to you and arranging their subs to come out. If multiple subcontractors have to come out, I think it's a good thing that the general contractor be with the sub on site. So while we're looking to see what needs to be done, and you want to have those project managers coming by, and asking the questions. How often are you going to come by and check on your subs? What's that process look like? And so that's what we try to convey to our clients or general contractors is be on site, and things typically will go much better as checking in, on a regular basis, at least once a day, to line everybody up. And then we have some clients that they start at they'll go by the front of the day, get them lined up, and then they'll come back through. at the end of the day, just to make sure everything's, what the process was. And so, and that's kind of how you kind of gauge the level of contractor that you're hiring. And companies that are going to, operate in that way, they're not going to be the cheapest. I mean, it costs money to have qualified project managers and professional sales managers that know the construction business and know what you're asking for.
It took a number of years and a number of mistakes to finally realize that in many instances you get what you pay for.
Oh, absolutely.
And when it comes to your home, that is a major one, because if you're trying to cut corners on the budget, then you're probably going to be hiring someone that is cutting corners on the project. And so you're just setting yourself up for disaster. So I'm with you. It's like, you don't necessarily, that doesn't mean you go find the most expensive person there is, to do whatever work that's needed or wanted. But be very cautious with the company that says, I'll do it for half that. And there's no signage on their shirt. It's a basic white van that they may have rented that morning. Or if there is a name on it, it's YOLO Construction.
Yeah.
I think, something like you said, something a little more credible, not just on paper, but with what you see and what you hear. It's also important. And like you said, to treat it like a job interview, because that's what it is. You're hiring this person to do work for you. You shouldn't just ask, hey, can you do this for cheap?
Right.
Yeah. We run into a lot. We always find, in our typical day when we're meeting clients, we are trying to educate them at the same time. We're trying to let them know that we are insured. We do have workers' comp. We are going to oversee all the jobs, and all the people that's on their property, we're responsible for. And then sometimes, when it comes down to estimates, they'll we'll follow up and we're like, have you made a decision on who's going to do repairs at your home? And every time the price point comes up, I always ask, who's going to manage that project? How are they going to manage the project? Are they going to be responsible for your home? Because if they're taking $5,000 or $6,000 off an estimate, there's too much overhead in this business. And a contractor can't just take that much money off of an estimate these days. It's just, the overhead is tremendous. And when you have all the proper credentials, it costs money. So, yeah.
Brad, what would be your last piece of advice for a homeowner learning about insurance when it comes to, having contractors at their home? Anything that we've forgotten?
I think we pretty well covered it. No, it was,
well, that's good. I mean, that's a good thing.
Yes. I mean, I would just say, do your diligence. It's the place that you live. And if something happened and went south, it's going to be very painful. Even if they have insurance, it could be painful. And you've done all your diligence. It's going to take time. So, you just really, I just can't reiterate more, is just let it be an interview your contractors, do your diligence and find out who they are, what kind of work that they've been doing, what their reputation is. You can find those things all over the place, and and then settle in, on a price that's going to fit your budget for the work that you want done. And and occasionally something's going to happen, but when you have the better contractors that are doing it professionally, like Cook DFW, then the process is going to be really relatively seamless if something did happen. Because one of the things that the general contractors do is they also require their subcontractors to carry insurance. And so, so that if they mess it up, and so it's a layered piece. And so those are other things. That's another question the homeowner could ask is, are your subs insured? And what happens if a subcontractor? And so we put some fail safes in our contractors' policies, that because sometimes a sub may not pay his bill and it gets canceled, but we have fail safes put in our general contractors' policy that cover those things, so that my job is to work with the contractors to be able to help their homeowners and be safe. I mean, and and make sure that I have a responsibility to protect the homeowners as well as my contractors and my clients that we're insuring.
And to get more information on what you do in your company, it's One Source Insurance Advisors, correct?
Yes, yep, and they can visit our website at onesourceins.com.
OneSourceINS.com. Perfect.
All
Thank you.
spelled out.
Perfect. Brad, thank you so much for the information and your time. We appreciate it. And we appreciate not only your time today, but what you do for the industry, and because it is massively important for homeowners and the contractors. So thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So as a homeowner, you can go from, solid ground to shaky ground really, really quickly if you're not careful. And it's amazing how many of these hazards there are when it comes to your home. And insurance, like I said at the beginning of the show, I mean, it's kind of a dirty word. Some people feel like insurance is a scam, but when you need it, oh, it can be a lifesaver.
I mean, you know, luckily we have never had to use our insurance, and we take what we do very seriously. But at the end of the day, we're working on homes that are four, five, six, $800 million, and I don't know what I would do if something happened, but I do know that it would be catastrophic for my business if I didn't have insurance, if I didn't have the right insurance, because that homeowner is still going to hold me liable for those damages.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's why we have to have the insurance. It's not for the day-to-day situation. It's for that 1 in a million chance that something really, really bad is going to happen while you're working on somebody's homes. I would be devastated if we burnt somebody's home down, or they caught on fire after we left, or if there was a massive water damage because we just didn't do something we were supposed to do. And now we got all these hardwood floors in these homes, and several thousands of square feet of damage, and that can be quite expensive, and it's long too. And no matter how much you think you're getting a deal, you need to make sure that the deal is worth the outcome, because saving a few $1,000s on the front end because somebody has a better deal may cost you hundreds of thousands in the back end. And so I can't stress it enough. Texas is like you said, it's a wild, wild west. It's a buyer beware state. Homeowners have to do their due diligence. They have to know who they're working with and make sure they're working with them for the right reasons.
And the point of this episode, make sure they are insured themselves, because if they're not insured, that means they're writing your policy.
Right. 100%.
And you are on the hook for it. And you don't want to be on the hook for that if they decide, I'm having a bad day, I'm going to jump off this roof and break all my bones. And I'm going to make Tim pay for it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, homeowners already have too much of a responsibility. You got so many things working against you. You got to know what all the things are going to go wrong in your home. And then when something does go wrong, you're trying to pick somebody out of Google real fast, or somebody out of a referral list, or you get onto Nextdoor, and John down the street used Jose to come over and fix a roof leak. Well, that's great, and Jose did a great job, no problem. But you may have a bigger project. You may have to have more responsibility on your project. Maybe there are handyman out there that do a fantastic job, but I tell everybody that handyman are just that. They work on one thing to another. They may be fixing a garbage disposal one day, they're fixing a window leak the next day, they're fixing a fence that's leaning one day, and they really don't have that much experience unless they've been doing it for 20 years. And they may say, yeah, I can do anything, but they may just not know. And then you let them, I don't know, do something simple, fix a garbage disposal, but unfortunately the plug got wet and it causes a fire in your kitchen later down the road. Now you're on the hook for that, no matter what happened. Yeah. So I mean, there's so many different variables in this, and it's scary. And that's why, like Brad said, interview your contractors, interview the project manager that comes out, make them prove to you that they are educated, that they care, and that they're there for the right reasons and not just a paycheck, basically.
And always be wary of the upsell. I'm saying that from my own personal experience, because I remember there was a time I had a contractor out. We were having to have a deck replaced, and I knew what I wanted. And I let him talk me into something else. And he said, you know what? It's going to be the same cost, but it's a higher quality material. And it's like, okay, fine. Buyer's remorse, man. I wish I had stayed with the thing that I wanted. I'd have been way happier. So trust your diligence, but also trust your instincts.
Yeah. Big time.
It's my piece of advice today here on Know Your Home. If you have found any of this helpful, and I'm pretty sure you have, or at least I hope you have, then that's why we're doing this show. So, and if you have any questions for us, specifically Daniel, about your home, you can email us, daniel@cookdfw.com, and we will answer it on an upcoming episode. Yeah. So also like and subscribe right here on YouTube to Know Your Home. And if you're in the North Texas area and want to schedule a free roof inspection and property review, contact this handsome fella right here at 833-COOK-DFW. That's 833-COOK-DFW for Cook DFW Roofing and Restoration, or the website is cookdfw.com. We'll see you next time right here inside Know Your Home.